Every minute detail, every video I see of Space Marine 2 engorges my loins further than I ever thought possible. There's no guarantee this game is going to launch super smooth and hit the ground running. It could have a disastrous launch. We can't know what the future holds for these delectable Ultramarine asses, but I know me, I know myself, I know the kinds of games I can sink hundreds of hours into, and I'm looking at one on screen. Barring some unseen catastrophe, Space Marine 2 is gonna be the bomb biddies. We're getting single player campaign, co-op campaign, a separate PVE 3-player co-op multiplayer that ties into the main narrative, 6 vs 6 PvP multiplayer, a deep and persistent customization system for both Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines that lets you deck out Coordinate World Eaters, Warp Talon Night Lords, Death Guard Plague Marines, and a bunch of different Loyalist chapters and CSM Legions, and crossplay will be available across all platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. So player base, probably not going to be a problem. That year delay seems to have done wonders for this game. It looks incredible. Like, I don't get to feel this way very often about games. It's usually only once every couple of years at most, but I am legitimately incredibly excited to play Space Marine 2. It is Jamaican me horny. So let's go through the trailers now and break down some of the new reveals, thoughts, impressions, new enemy types, weapons, and all that sexy stuff. Lots to get into, and first up, we've got PVE Co-op and some famous Marines making appearances here. Sevastus Akaran, current captain of the Ultramarine 2nd Company and Master of the Watch, is the bearded guy with the funny accent, replacing Cato Sicarius, who got lost in the warp somewhere on his way to McCrag. This game mode is called Operations, which will send you and up to 2 friends on special, standalone missions that tie into the main story arc as part of this system-wide war against the Tyranid invasion. Space Marine 2 takes place across 3 separate planets, connected by a central battle barge that may serve as the main hub, similar to the Morningstar in Darktide, and playing through the campaign and these side missions, you'll end up hearing dialogue and experiencing an interconnected war that brings the whole thing together. So you might hear Titus give orders to his squad to take out a Hive Tyrant in Sector Septicemius in the main narrative, and then actually play that same mission out from the other side in PvE. Got the dope-ass Centurion Mohawk rocking that look there, Thunderhammer and Bolt Gun combos, combat knives laced in some kind of green neurotoxin, presumably an upgrade, and all the dope-ass action you could hope for in a 40k game. Don't think that's a Swarmlord boss. I believe it's just a random Hive Tyrant with bone swords, but love the movement and dodge mechanics showcased here. Obviously plenty of gore, but it's one reason why the Ghost of Tsushima combat is so great, right? Parry and dodge timings are really important, and once you begin mastering them and heading up that skill curve, you feel rewarded for actually getting good. I want that complexity and nuance. I want to get my ass kicked initially, especially on the harder difficulties, but have that room for skill expression and improvement so that when I can finally clear an entire section of the game with 0 damage and perfect accuracy, I feel like I actually earned it. We got heavy weaponry, Devastators with belt-fed heavy bolters, a plasma pistol and storm shield combo, a Multi-Melta, which will just straight up incinerate onrushing hordes and looks amazing. Look at the surge of that heat there. And then 6 classes to play and upgrade. The Tactical Marine, Assault, Vanguard, Bulwark, Sniper, and Heavy, all with unique modifiers, weapons, and skill trees. Power swords, storm shields, and a robust menu for armor customization. It seems to let you control a bunch of different aspects of your visual model and equip special skills and abilities, presumably equipment as well. For example, the Primaris Reaver has an incredible moment in the trailer where he grapples to a warrior brood, then just straight up matrix kicks him in the face. Does a great job showcasing their speed and their power. And of course, there's a ton of brutal executions, slicing, dicing, smashing, gnawing, hacking, burning. Turn your brain off fun that you want from a game like this one. That persistent leveling and customization should do wonders for replayability, especially if you have to make thoughtful choices about your upgrades and can make some specialized builds that don't have access to everything, which is what I want. I want to be able to, even in a single class like the Sniper, I want that option to build a stealthed long-range damage dealer, or maybe something else like an aggressive melee scout with a ton of speed and assassination potential. Having those kinds of separate builds and playstyles, even within each class, and not necessarily unlocking everything all at once and being able to access the entire kit in one single game, I think that'll take it to the next level, because then you have something you actually have to think about and trade-offs you have to make between characters. But of course, if we're talking about next level stuff, I mean, fighting Thousand Sons Rubric Marines, Lictor Alphas, Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and Helldrakes breathing fire from above, it looks like there's going to be some incredibly cool boss fights in this game as well, and that's going to take it to that next cinematic potential. Legitimately already looking like one of the best 40k games ever, and we're not even into the PvP stuff yet, which, speak of the devil, should be appearing on your screen right meow. Curious how far they'll go with the upgrades for Chaos Space Marines, or if it'll just kind of be a generic set similar to the Loyalist Space Marines and co-op game modes, because in an ideal world, if I pick a Night Lord Chaos Raptor, I want to be able to spec into like a Warp Talon tree where I can literally teleport in and out of the Immaterium with Lightning Claws to surprise opponents, where maybe my armor's literally fused to my skeleton, I become this bird of prey and get special kick attacks that deal bleed damage, that sort of thing. Because raptors who become Warp Talons literally become feral beasts with real claws on their feet and hands. I don't know if they'll literally go that far with the skill trees, but even just a couple unique weapons or build setups for the Chaos Space Marines, beyond the obvious visual differences between them and Loyalists, that the Loyalists don't have access to, would be incredibly sick. For example, Death's Head's biological grenades, instead of crack grenades for the Death Guard Trader, that sort of thing. Gives them a little bit more flavor, gives them some unique equipment, some unique abilities that separates them from the Loyalists. They've already taken the time to model a World Eater's Berserker, a Night Lord Chaos Raptor, Death Guard Plague Marine, Black Legion CSM, complete with unique heraldry and traits like that Berserker crest, so there may very well be some extra special stuff on the Chaos side as well, especially because we know the campaign will already have Inferno Bolters on the Rubric Marines, special plasma weaponry, and so on. Give the Berserker a Coronate Eviscerator. That kind of thing would be amazing. Big ass two-handed chainsword. I want to rip people up, rip and tear, till it is done. So yeah, we're a bit sparse on the PvP detail so far. That trailer is short, doesn't show a whole lot. We only know it will be 6 vs 6, which some people have expressed disappointment about, but it's pretty much exactly in line with what I was personally expecting. This is not a Battlefield game. I want tight, close quarters, and interesting map layouts that foster a variety of different playstyles, like Gears of War. That's a lot harder to do when your maps are as big and lifeless as the stuff in 2042. I remember going into buildings in that game in the beta, just being like, there's nothing here. I don't know why the map is so big. It's devoid of any life. It doesn't feel lived in. It doesn't even really feel real. I understand wanting that type of scale. There are downsides to that. And yes, of course, a legit 40k Battlefield game with 64 vs 64, or even something as big as Eternal War would be great. I hope it happens in the future. But I'm very happy with tight squad-based tactics on smaller maps, 6 vs 6, especially if we have access to the full suite of features and customization options that PvE will have. Multiplayer PvP is where this game could really get its legs and longevity. I think PvE and the co-op mode will certainly help on that front as well, but obviously I'm just hoping that the multiplayer gets support and content well into the future. Which we're not sure about, honestly. If Saber plans to support Space Marine 2 long-term with DLC or expansions, map packs, or weapon updates, it doesn't need to be a live service game, but I like the idea of getting content months or even a year down the road. This is the kind of title I'd like to see supported for at least a couple of years, if not longer. Either way, that year-long delay has done a body good. I'm absolutely adoring everything I've seen. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next video.